It's 9:10 p.m. and you are chatting with your Japanese friend. He starts telling you about a fascinating cafe nearby, a place that sells almost everything. そこはカフェだけど、おもちゃも売ってるんだよ。It's a cafe, but it also sells toys. へえ、おもちゃ Oh, toys. That's great. You love toys. うん、花や文房具やくじまであるよ。9時まで until 9? Oh, so these things are available until 9 p.m.? じゃあ今日はもう遅いね。Oh, so it's too late today. Suddenly, an awkward silence fills the air. Your friend gives you a polite smile, but something feels off. He's not quite sure where the misunderstanding happened, and he doesn't want to correct you to make you feel embarrassed. So, what went wrong? The problem wasn't the word kuji. The problem was what your brain did with made. You probably learned that made means until, right? But here's a surprise. Made doesn't always mean until. Sometimes it means something completely different, and misunderstanding this tiny word can completely change the meaning of a conversation. So let's uncover the real meaning of made. You probably understand a sentence like this. 銀行は午後4時までです。The bank is open until 4 p.m. In this sentence, まで marks the end point of time. Here's another example you're probably familiar with. ジムまで走っていきました。I ran to the gym. This time, まで marks the destination, the end point in space. In both cases, まで basically means until or up to and points to some kind of endpoint. But here's where things get interesting. Take a look at this sentence. 大人まで夢中になってこのゲームをしています。夢中になる means to get completely lose oneself in an activity. So, what do you think this sentence means? It means even adults lose themselves in playing this game. So if made is not showing an endpoint here, what is it doing? The key idea is this. Made pushes our attention beyond a boundary. In this sentence, made isn't marking a destination or a point in time. Instead, it's emphasizing just how appealing this game is. It's like saying, not only kids but even adults. The speaker is emphasizing how surprisingly appealing this game is. Here's another example. とても美味しくてお皿についたソースまで舐めてしまいました。It was so delicious that I even ended up licking the sauce off the plate. I'm sure you experienced it too. The sauce was just too good to waste. In this sentence, what is emphasized is the deliciousness of the food. In other words, made highlights something that goes beyond what we normally expect. And you can think of it as a flavor of the English word even. It's like saying even adults or I even licked it. But wait, there are more ways you can use made. Let's take a look. このディナーセットはワインとデザートまでついています。This dinner set looks quite impressive, doesn't it? So what do you think this sentence means? It means the dinner set even comes with wine and dessert. Now you might be thinking, wait, is made showing emphasis here too? That's a great question. Made in this example highlights something that is added beyond what you might normally expect. The flavor is slightly different. In the previous examples, the focus was on something reaching an unexpected degree. Here, the focus is on something unexpected being added to the list. Wine and dessert are simply additional items included in a set. It's a slightly different flavor of emphasis. Let's look at some more examples. 野菜を買いに行ったのにお菓子まで買ってきました。I went to buy vegetables, but I ended up buying snacks too. If you've ever been to a Japanese supermarket, you know exactly how this happens. You go in with a simple shopping list, and before you know it, your basket is full of tempting snacks. 初めて会った人なのに私の電話番号まで知っていました。 I met him for the first time, but he even knew my telephone number. Now, that's a little creepy. So far, we've seen made used for emphasis and addition. In general, this usage is mostly limited to affirmative sentences. It normally doesn't appear in suggestions, requests, or guesses. Negative sentences are also uncommon, but there is an interesting exception. 停電したとき、懐中電灯までつきませんでした。When the power went out, even my flashlight didn't work. Why does made work here? Because we are adding another negative element to an already negative situation. The power outage is bad enough. Nothing in the house works. Then, to make matters worse, even the flashlight, which is supposed to help in an emergency, didn't work. The flashlight is added as an extra piece of bad news, and that's why made sounds natural in this sentence. Now, let's look at even more surprising use of made next. 大好きなタレントが夢にまで出てきました。What does this mean? It means my favorite celebrity even appeared in my dream. This is another flavor of the same idea, going beyond what we normally expect. Here, the boundary is pushed a lot further away from our normal expectation. Imagine that you are completely obsessed with your favorite celebrity. You think about her all day long, then she even appears in your dreams. That's a bit too much obsession. You may have also noticed that the expression is not yume made, but yume ni made. When made is used with a flavor of even, it's often attached directly to a noun, but it can also follow a particle such as ni in this example. Some particles are more likely to be used before made, but others are unlikely to appear. In some cases, it can even follow the te form of a verb or attach to the stem of a mas form verb. Let's look at some more real-life examples. Here are some interesting examples. 徹夜してまで勉強したけれど、テストに落ちました。I studied throughout the night, but I failed the test. In this sentence, made highlights an extreme action, studying all day long. Notice that made is attached to the te form, 徹夜して. Let's look at another example. 家に泊めまでしてあげなくていいと思います。I think you don't need to go as far as letting her stay overnight. Here, made marks the action of letting someone stay overnight as the extreme point. On its own, offering someone a place to stay may not seem particularly extraordinary. However, in context, the speaker may feel that they have already done enough for this person, and providing accommodation would be going a step too far. You will also notice something different here. Made is attached to the mas form stem of tomemas, giving us tomemade. In reality, though, made is most often attached to a noun or noun followed by a particle. That's where you will encounter this pattern most frequently in everyday Japanese. So far, we've seen 3 different flavors of made, meaning even. It can emphasize a high degree, add something unexpected to a list, or show that something goes beyond what we normally expect. Next, let's look at some cases where made doesn't work. これは手で切れます。I can cut this by hand. Now, what if you want to say, I can even cut this by hand? Could we simply add made and say, これは手でまで切れます? Unfortunately, no, this doesn't work. Why not? Because the particle de doesn't usually go with made. So then, what about this? これは手まで切れます. Well, this sentence is grammatically correct, but it doesn't mean what you want it to mean. Instead, it means this can even cut a hand. That's not the message you were going for, and you might end up scaring people instead. So, how can we express the idea that something is so easy to cut that you can even do it by hand? One option is これは手でも切れます。You can also cut this by hand. Here, mo can add emphasis, giving the nuance of even by hand. You can also say, これは手でさえ切れます。弟はありがとうと言いませんでした。My little brother didn't say thank you. Now, how would you say my little brother didn't even say thank you in Japanese? 弟はありがとうまで言いませんでした Sounds possible, right? But this sentence is actually incorrect. Why? In ordinary negative statements, Japanese usually prefers other expressions rather than made. So how can we say it in this situation? You can use も。弟はありがとうも言いませんでした。My little brother didn't even say thank you. Or you can use さえ。弟はありがとうさえ言いませんでした。You can also use すら。弟はありがとうすら言いませんでした。So far, we've looked at several uses of まで that correspond to the English word even. Now, let's return to another important idea, まで as an endpoint. What do you think this means? リサさんは倒れそうになるまでダンスの練習をしています。This sentence means Lisa practices dancing until she's about to faint. When まで follows the dictionary form of a verb, it can indicate the end point of a scale or degree. In this example, 倒れそうになる to be about to faint represents the extreme result or limit of the dance practice. The sentence emphasizes that Lisa practices dancing to the point where she's nearly fainting. Let's look at some more examples. 足が痛くなるまで走りました。I ran until my legs hurt. Here, まで marks the end point. The action of running continued up to the point where my legs started hurting. That's the limit, the point where I couldn't keep running comfortably anymore. 会議が終わるまで家に帰れません。I can't go home until the meeting ends. Sounds like I'm stuck here for a while. Hopefully the meeting wraps up soon. Now you learned all different ways to use まで. Let's go back to the scenario from the beginning and take a closer look at where the misunderstanding happened. So your friend said, そこはカフェだけどおもちゃも売っているんだよ。It's a cafe, but it also sells toys. Then he added, 花や文房具やくじまであるよ。Maybe you can confirm with him. え、くじ？あ、ごめん、宝くじ。Oh, sorry, lottery tickets. あ、宝くじ。He's talking about lottery tickets. In this sentence, まで is used as an additional item sold at the cafe. Your friend is surprised by how many different things this cafe sells, and lottery tickets are one more unexpected item on the list. Now you can confidently respond, へえ、じゃあ行こう。Well, let's go. No awkward smile, no confusion at 9 o'clock, just excitement as your friend takes you to the cafe that seems to sell everything. Now let's summarize the different ways we've learned to use まで. We learned that まで has two main functions. First, it describes an endpoint, and second, it pushes a boundary. It can express emphasis on the degree of something, the addition of items to a list, and extreme situations. We already know the basic usage. まで follows a time expression or destination and marks the endpoint in time or space. You also know that まで can mark the endpoint of a range. For example, 小学校から高校まで同じ学校でした。I went to the same school from elementary school all the way through high school. But まで doesn't stop there. It can also indicate the highest point of a scale or degree when used with a dictionary form verb. わかるまで説明してください。Please explain until I understand. And then we explored one of the trickiest parts of まで. It corresponds to a few different flavors of the English word even. In all of those even flavors, the basic idea is the same. まで highlights something that goes beyond a normal boundary. The boundary might be a degree, a range of items, or our expectations. Made is most commonly attached to a noun, although some particles may appear between the noun and made. It can also follow a verb in the te form or the mass form stem. There are a couple of important things to remember. In general, these even flavors of made do not work in negative sentences. And although some particles can come before made, the particle de does not go with made in most cases. Think of made as a word with two faces. One face marks an endpoint, while the other pushes a boundary, adding surprise, emphasis, or an unexpected extra element. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss my new videos. You can also join my daily quizzes in the post section. Check out my Udemy courses for Japanese learning as well. Links are in the description below. Thank you for watching.